He is not a racist, I can tell you that. He's a good person. He actually gets a very unfair press in that regard. But we'll see what happens with Mr. Bannon.
Well, President Trump leaving the door open earlier this week as we learn new details about his decision to remove Chief Strategist Bannon from the White House. Here now, Vince Colanese. He is the Daily Caller editor-in-chief. So, Vince, for all the talk about Charlottesville, frankly, what I think had more to do with his getting fired than anything else was North Korea. His comments to the reporter, he says they were supposed to be off the record, but he said there's no military solution, forget it. Now, that directly conflicted with what both Tillerson and Jim Mattis said about North Korea, where they said the military option is on the table. What do you think about that?
I think so, and I think that you can add President Trump to that list for saying fire and fury would rain down on North Korea if they continue to threaten the United States. So Steve Bannon goes out and clearly shows the hand of the administration, suggests that North Korea has all the leverage here because Seoul, South Korea would be essentially evaporated if North Korea decided to start firing. That was enough to demonstrate, I think, a very clear difference between Steve Bannon and the White House in terms of just betraying a policy position, one that needs to be close-hold, especially in a national security situation.
When you differ with the commander-in-chief on thermonuclear war, I mean, forget about it. That is firing charges right there. But the way that the Democrats are spinning this, I know they would. You knew they were going to spin it in their favor, or try to anyway. Connecting it to Charlottesville, connecting it to their theme that anybody who supports the president right now is a racist, and starting with Steve Bannon, who is whispering little racist things in his ear. Nancy Pelosi, or the DNC, let out a charge. There is one less white supremacist in the White House. Donald Trump, recent attempts to divide our country and give a voice to white supremacists will not be accepted. I mean, do you think the public is going to buy the fact that either not just Bannon, but anybody who supports the president right now is a racist?
No, I don't. And I think this idea that they were going to tie Steve Bannon to somehow the Charlottesville response, any of that, it was just not going to work. And by the way, to the extent that Steve Bannon is now separated from the White House and the role that the president played in that, the president would not be compelled by those arguments. Those are nonsense. I mean, in fact, the one thing over the last week that made me think that Steve Bannon might stay in the White House is Nancy Pelosi demanding his firing, because the president is clearly not affected by the political winds here. He's not going to be responding to Democrats' demands. If anything, the extent to which there is any internal politics involved, it may be John Kelly's trying to sort of streamline the White House and bring it all into a very basic chain of command.
You know, just to show how absurd things have become, Maxine Waters, who said some pretty absurd things, is now claiming that even Dr. Ben Carson is a white supremacist. Now, they clearly think that Americans are so dumb that they would think an African-American like Ben Carson is a white supremacist. I mean, that's almost lunatic.
That'd be quite a magic trick if that Ben Carson is all of a sudden a white supremacist. Ben Carson, by the way, just announcing over the last few days that his home was vandalized for the fact that he's working in the Trump administration. Ben Carson earning very few friends by doing that. So I would say probably at the bottom of his list.